Mitsutake, Kurando is a true Renaissance man, a man who has worn many hats in his career. From guest starring roles on TV shows such as Ugly Betty and Heroes, to writing, directing, and producing his very own projects. His two most recent films, Gunwoman and Karate Kill, are true grindhouse masterpieces. Gunwoman is an over-the-top thrill ride starring Japanese sensation Asami. Gunwoman proves that you don't need a large budget to produce something truly epic. And Karate Kill is, in my opinion, the best martial art movie to be released within the last 25 years. So, for no further ado, Kurando Mitsutake!
There we go.
Now I can see you. Oh, awesome. You beat me.
Yeah.
You totally beat me. Amazing. Now that's a man cave. That is a man cave.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's a live from my man cave. Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah.
So where are you joining from, Kurando?
My house, my home office or a home man cave. Yeah.
Okay. And you're in California or Texas?
Oh no, I'm in Torrance, California.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how are you holding up with this COVID-19 isolation and all that?
Well, you know, it's tough, but you know, it's strange, right? It's like you kind of start to get used to it a little bit, you know, not quite, but yeah. You know, I mean, we are on to like a 90th day or 95th day now. So
yes, yeah.
You know, it's up. You know, I'm like, someday I'm normal, someday I'm really depressed. You know,
yes,
like up and down.
Yeah, totally. I feel the same way. I feel like this is what it must feel like to be in prison. But then I'm realizing, well, you know, I can go outside and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, it's very. I mean, this is strange, right? It's like this is. I mean, hopefully, this is the worst thing we're dealing in our generation. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough.
So I love your movies. I have Karate Kill and Gunwoman. I probably watched Karate Kill maybe a million times.
Already. Thank you so much.
Already. I'm a black belt in Shotokan karate, so I love the fact that the sequences are like so true to actual karate. You know, it was just a really enjoyable movie from beginning to end.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell me about your first movie memories and the movies you watched as a small child, or what you liked.
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Tokyo. I left Tokyo when I was 17 to come to the U.S. to study film. But I guess my first real cinema experience, film experience, was on TV. You know, back then, it was like a VHS rental video was kind of popping out everywhere, but yet it was still super expensive. You know, like in beginning of the 80s, you know, when I started to kind of get conscious about movies and stuff. So at the time in early 80s in Japan, my main source for the getting movies was on TV, you know, like on Japanese primetime TV. You know, they had different channels, had the different weekly cinema hour, you know, that type of thing. And you know, I think I was fourth grade or something. So, you know, 10, 9. I wanted to be a comic book artist, manga artist, you know, like just like every other Japanese kid, I guess, you know, at that time, you know, manga is huge. So, you know, I wanted to be a comic book artist, and I was actually drawing my comic book, you know, in my school and everything. And then I watched Steven Spielberg's debut feature, Duel, was on TV. And it just blew my mind. You know, I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, like this is amazing. This is you know, and you know, it was such a minimalist, amazing thriller horror It's
Yeah.
basically one car against the big truck, and just 90 minutes of car chase,
Right.
and you never get to see the bad driver in the truck, and it's a
Mhm.
mysterious. It's treated like a mysterious monster. So
Yes.
that's kind of like supernatural horror a little bit, but.
Right.
But it was really man against the machine, minimalist, symbolic movie, and it just, my 9-year-old mind was just totally blown away, and I was
Mhm.
like, well, maybe I should become a movie director instead of the comic book artist, because then I don't have to draw the little squares, and I can just point the camera and shoot. Maybe making movie is easier than writing a comic book. Then ever since then, I wanted to become a movie director.
I see. Wonderful.
Little,
Wonderful.
little I knew, right? Little I knew.
It always starts with a little idea. It's the spark, right?
Right.
So those early movies, the Manja, that Steven Spielberg movie, the Duel, did that influence your later movies, the movies that you made later? Was there like a feeling that was centered into your movies?
Well, I think because Spielberg's Duel opened my cinema door. I certainly became a genre movie fan. And at that time, as the rental video bubble hit Japan,
Hmm.
the driving force at that time for um, the rental video industry was horror movies. Like special effects was really big gimmick,
Hmm.
popular gimmick at that time.
Okay.
And so like a lot of special makeup horror movies
Hmm.
they were just hitting the Japanese video market, tons and tons of them. And
Right.
at that time in mid '80s, late '80s, they really didn't have the rating system. So the 12-year-old, 13-year-old me,
Yes.
I could rent like goriest Italian horror film with the eyes gouging out and stuff like that. And
Right.
there was no ID check or nothing. So
Sure.
I was exposed to Dario Argento and Lucio Fulci and all those wonderful gory Italian cinema
Yes.
quite early. Then I
Right.
really got screwed up in the head. But and my parents had no idea what I was doing. But so those bloody genre movies really affected me, and special effects was really great. It was almost like a magic tricks. It was
Sure.
like it's not real. When somebody's head rolls, I know it's fake.
Correct.
But I was like, with the bad VHS video, I was doing step by step pause button to like try to find out what they did, and
Right.
oh, there's this wire is pulling
Uh-huh.
the head, and stuff like I was trying to. I was really into behind the scenes stuff, from early on. So I wanted to know how stuff was done.
I see. I see. Wonderful. Um, Now I know the most recent movie you did was Karate Kill,
Yes.
and that was the first martial art movie you did.
Yes, it was quite interesting because essentially that project I was hired gun for the
Oh.
first time.
Mhm.
I met the producer at the Yubari Film Festival in Japan,
Mhm.
and this producer, Mr. Kubo, he's a martial art enthusiast. He loves all kinds of martial arts stuff. I think he's in the making of his feature length documentary on some. I think it's a martial art happens in some a small country in Southeast Asia. I'm not
Okay.
sure where, but it's an indigenous martial art to that region, and he's making the document. So he's like a super martial art enthusiast, and
Mhm.
he just discovered this real karate martial artist, Hayate,
Ah.
and he wanted to. He was like you know uh, gathering his idea, like, oh, how could I make this kid a star? Like he's the real thing. He's the real
He's
deal.
the real thing.
Yeah. So how could I make a movie around him?
Yes.
And so he was attending the Yubari Film Festival as well.
I see.
and my film Gunwoman at the time was showing there,
Yes.
and he saw Gunwoman, and in Mr. Kubo's head, he put two and two together. Oh, I should put Hayate and Kurando Mitsutake, who did Gunwoman,
Yes.
together, and I'll invest the money in that,
Yeah.
and they should make a martial art film. So it's really Mr. Kubo's brainchild, and I got hired on to direct and write.
Okay.
And it was a wonderful experience, because
Yeah.
he really, essentially, I wrote the script for Hayate, so so I tailor made the script for him.
Yes.
So I had the meeting with him, really
Yes.
nice guy.
Yeah.
We hit it off right away, and
Mhm.
so I asked him a bunch of questions. Okay, what can you really do? Like, okay, can you really like poke through somebody's neck? Like, and he's like, yeah, that's doable. And he just grabbed like Amazon delivery cardboard box, and
Yes.
he can just
Right through it.
put the thumb through it. So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so you can actually
Yeah.
put the hole in somebody's neck. So I wrote that
Yes.
down.
Yes.
So basically the whole movie is showcasing what Hayate can really do. It's like
Absolutely.
we didn't want to use stuntman. We didn't want to use wire tricks.
Yes.
It's all practical and everything. I mean, he really didn't kill people in the movie,
Yeah.
but everything else was real. Like the style he does.
Yes.
It's a very indigenous old time karate. Like
Yes.
karate was Chinese kung fu that traveled through China, then down to Okinawa first.
Mhm.
Then in Okinawa, karate is like a hybrid between karate and kung fu.
Yes.
So like when karate traveled up to Japanese mainland, it became like this, this kind of that kind of square movement.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Okinawan karate is more fluid like
Yes.
kung fu. So it's a very it's a style of karate that you don't get to see too often.
Oh.
That what karate does, Hayate does, and it's great.
That's a Hayate Masayo.
Yeah, it's actually he goes by Hayate only.
Hayate.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
on Facebook he's Hayate Masao, but
Okay.
I guess Facebook has some weird rule about needing to have a last name, so he just slapped that on.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
After I watched the movie and I saw that he was on Facebook, I friended him because I was interested. I did Shotokan karate, which you talked about. It was very linear. That was in the mainland,
Right.
in Tokyo. And I noticed when I was watching the movie, first, there's three things I noticed. Excellent casting. Now that you explained that it was a vehicle around him, it makes complete sense because Hayate is very special because not only does he have the right look, he has the right skill, and he's also a parkour. That is very, very rare. I don't think you can find that. And most of the martial art movies that we see now, it's very like Chinese based or Taekwondo based. You don't get to really see real karate. Maybe if you want to see like real karate, you got to go all the way back to Sonny Chiba, right? And the Street Fighter. Then you see, then you see some real karate. But Hayate had that. He had that flavor, that element.
Right.
At least even one of the lot of the posings that he was doing. Yes, yes, yes. That's my man. I love Sonny Chiba.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's having the real artist was such a plus, and just as you said, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit controversial. I actually don't like recent martial art movies all that much. Because people fly in the air. People get punched like 2,000 times and they don't fall down. It's like,
no.
Right? It's
Yes.
So I wanted to go back to old school.
Yes.
So when I got the assignment to direct Karate Kill, I revisited all Bruce Lee movies,
Yes.
and the old, Hong Kong Jackie Chan stuff. Those movies, like camera just stays.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
They let the actors do stuff, but the
Yes.
camera, most of the times, it's not a camera trick, you know.
Yes.
Nowadays, you know, like cameras like all over the
Zooming all over
place,
the place.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, of course, you know, 60-something-year-old, you know, Liam Neeson can be like kicking ass, you know, but but that's all in camera, you know.
That's
Camera's doing all this, you know.
right.
So
Right.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to put the camera fixed and
Yes.
let the real people do what they do the best, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, definitely I tried to do the old school martial art film with Karate Kill.
Sure. There's a fantastic scene where Hayate goes, I think it's in a bar or restaurant, and he's fighting several people. And what you did with the camera was great. You started rotating it around like this. And it really gives you that feeling, that inertia feeling that you have when you're in a fight.
Right.
But at the same time, it reaches the cinematography is like perfect, matches his movement. Really well done. You know, I really enjoyed that. I watched that several times.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of my homage to great Korean movie, Old Boy. You know, like in Old Boy, there is that amazing long hallway fight. Yeah, exactly. And I love that long take. And, you know, I mean, of course, that's a high budget Korean studio movie. And this little indie movie, Karate Kill, couldn't, you know, compete budget wise and production scale. But I was like, how could I do this lengthy one take fight scene?
Yes.
Like in Old Boy, camera moving constantly, but I don't have that big studio to move the camera across the, you know, the hallway. I was like, oh, how about I rotate the camera like so? You know, that would be a camera movement, constant camera movement, and the fight choreography.
Yes.
Yet camera doesn't have to go anywhere. You know, it's just rotating at the one place. You know.
Sure.
So that was my answer to that constantly moving camera with amazing fight choreography. And man, you know, Hayate and those stunt people and my stunt coordinator, Mr. Tabuchi, Keiya Tabuchi, who I teamed up for Gunwoman too. But they did an amazing job. They worked together in Japan before they came over to LA to shoot the movie. I think they rehearsed that scene for like 2 months straight. And got the timing of the camera, length of the choreography, just perfect. And I think we only did like 3 takes of that, and we nailed it.
3 takes. Yeah. So yeah, I was about to ask you that. So the fight choreography is fantastic. It was 2 months of preparation for that before actual film. It shows. Yeah, because they just had everything down perfect, very crisp. The timing, everything, just beautiful. Completely.
Yeah. Also, you know, my great partner in crime, you know, Mr. Imai. He's this amazing camera person, and you know, he shot Gunwoman as well, and Karate Kill, and he just you know, Toshi does this super smooth camera operation. You know, like later in Karate Kill, you know, when you see Hayate getting chased by the footed guys.
Yes.
You know,
jumping over the cars.
Junker, yeah, like a parkour jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
That's we didn't have the budget for the rail or nothing. So that's basically my camera person, Toshi Imai, just holding the camera on running and running.
Oh, wow.
Running through the field with the camera, with the Hayate and the stunt people. And it just, you know, it's amazing. You know, it's like, I'm a firm believer of practical effects, you know, like, I mean, I do appreciate digital effects and some CG, but if I can get everything done on the studio in front of the camera with the real everything, I prefer that for sure, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I think with too much CGI, it starts looking too much like a comic book, too manga-like, right? It doesn't look real.
Yeah. You know, it's like you start to feel like, you know, like some Marvel movies, you know, like some superhero stuff. You start to feel like, okay, this is like you know, Nintendo, or this is PlayStation,
like a video game.
Yeah, without the controller, you know. Like, so you're not really participating, but the shit's going down, you know. So.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away, but there's many amazing scenes in the movie, but there's a thrilling fight that takes place between Hayate and a samurai in an enclosed area. It's like 8 foot by 54, 53. Can I tell the people listening? It is a fight on a moving truck, inside a moving truck. And I'm watching it and I'm like, how did they do this? How many takes did it take? And where did the idea come from? Because it's absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen it in any other movie. It was very realistic. I mean, of course, Hayate is amazing. He's jumping off the side of the truck. The guy's got a sound. Please, everybody watch Karate Kill. But
Thank you.
where was the idea and how long did it take to shoot that scene? And
Well, it was definitely was one of the toughest scenes in the movie.
Yes.
Because of the intricate, delicate nature of the choreography and the space limitation, because the samurai sword fighter and the Hayate they are fighting in a truck, like a 12-wheeler semi truck in the container.
Yes.
And fight takes place, and of course the interior of the truck and the exterior of the truck was shot separately in different days. And so the box you see is the box that we built in a studio.
I see. Okay.
And there was some production problem happening. The original production designer we hired wasn't really competent person. So he was running late on delivering the set. And it was a nightmare. I mean, it was already hard scene to shoot.
Sure.
But this production problem really held us back. So basically, the set was supposed to be done by 7 a.m.
Okay.
And but it wasn't ready till like 2 p.m. I mean, like a 6-hour delay.
Yeah.
So like at that time, it was like all hands on deck. I mean, everybody. I had the wonderful crew. Thanks to them, everybody got there on their knees, and they started to paint the set with the blood paint for me and everything. It was beautiful. But the production, the incompetent production designer had to go actually. And then we had the wonderful new production designer quickly got on board. I mean, my producer did a wonderful damage control. But anyway, long story short, we had the bad problem with that day, and but we were able to do it. I mean, David Sakurai, who played. David is such an interesting actor. He's actually Danish Japanese, and he came over to LA. He befriended me on Facebook. He saw my second feature called Avenger, and he loved it. And he found me on Facebook, and we became Facebook friends first. And he was like, "Wow, I'm in LA. I really want to work with you." Blah blah blah.
Yes.
Then so I was like, "Oh, Karate Kill would be perfect. That would be like a kind of like a guest star spot. You be a Japanese swordsman, and you fight off with the karate guy."
Awesome.
And Hayate and David they worked. I mean, I guess hindsight, thanks to the production delay, they had the whole 6 hours to rehearse the scene.
Okay.
While the set was being built, and they nailed it. And Toshi was in there, because the set, like we could take this wall off or that wall off or the ceiling off and stuff like that. But it was a pretty small space to begin with.
Sure.
So Toshi was in there sometimes, and he was out of the box sometimes. Then he just only inserted the camera from the little hole we created on the wall, stuff like that. So it was amazing teamwork that we pulled it off. Then we had to match all that action from the actual outside footage of actual truck doing car stunt.
Sure.
So that was really complicated stuff, but because we had such amazing cast and crew, we were able to pull it off. And to answer your question, we just did it in one day. Not even one day, half day really.
Really?
Yeah,
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And that idea, you had that something swimming around in your head for a while, that
Oh,
idea?
the idea, idea. This actually, this idea for that fight sequence was given to me by
Oh,
this amazing Japanese actor, Mr. Masaya Kato. He's a big name in Japan. Um,
Fighter
he's
in the
got
Wind.
what's up?
He was in Fighter in the Wind. I think it's a Korean movie about Mazoyama. He played the villain.
Oh, maybe I'm not sure, but he's done a lot of international stuff. He's actually a SAG actor here as well.
Okay.
Uh, he was based in LA for a little while. He did the movie with Zalman King and stuff like that in the
Mhm.
early '90s.
Mhm.
He's an international presence, but
Yeah.
he's very well known in Japan, and we are friends. And someday we would love to do a movie together. But we were having lunch sometime, and he was like, "Hey, Kantoku." Kantoku is a director in Japanese, and he calls me Kantoku, and he's like, "Kantoku, I have this idea. What if there's this illegal, like a Fight Club kind of people,
Mhm.
like touring around the country doing, illegal betting on the fight and stuff
Mhm.
like that? And what if
Mhm.
the fight actually takes in a trailer of the semi, And I have this idea, and I wanted to develop it, but I'll just give it to you."
Oh.
So I said, okay, well, Mr. Kato, that sounds great. That's a great idea. Let me pick up the tab for this lunch, and you give me that idea. Then
Yeah.
he actually was like laughing, and we were cool with it. And I actually did it, and
Yeah.
so he's like, "Oh my God, with the cost of the lunch, you actually did the movie with my idea." So
Mhm.
and he did the guest star in Karate Kill for me. He's the delivery company head honcho guy in the beginning montage that Hayate quits the job.
Ah, okay. Okay. I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's Mr. Kato.
That's the
He's
same.
a wonderful actor. Yeah.
Now I know. Besides the mishap you had with shooting that truck scene,
Mm.
was what was the other hardest part of making Karate Kill? Um,
Well, because Hayate did all his stunt, we were really worried about him getting injured.
yes.
Because
Yes.
God forbid if he gets hurt,
Mhm.
the whole production will stop.
Yeah.
And that would be a nightmare. And
Mhm.
we can't let anything happen to Hayate. So we did all the safety thing as much as we can, and
Yeah.
we rehearsed the scene quite a bit. But still, it's a physical movie, so
Sure.
there were some unforeseen happenings happen here and there.
Wow.
Um, I think there was like a two incident, like when he jumped something, like the launching pad actually gave up, and
Oh,
his foot went through.
right through. Oh.
Yeah, that was really close call.
Mhm.
He could have broke his leg, but
Yeah. Sure.
fortunately his amazing reflex
Yeah. His
prevented
core.
him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a scary moment. Then other one, later in the movie, there's a fight scene that takes place in train car,
Mhm.
and on that one, I think he didn't realize how close he was to the floor or something, and he
Uh-huh.
actually banged his head.
Ugh.
So we had to stop the shoot for like 15 minutes and ice his head and stuff like that. But he was really cool. He got up and he's like, I'm okay, and we continued. But those moments, like we're a small non-union, small indie movie.
Mhm.
Um, we really don't have the contingency plan and stuff. Unlike big studio, if the
Mhm.
production shuts down for weeks, we're done. That
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of thing. So that was scary, but we pulled it off.
I see. And so it was how many days from start to finish to do the movie?
I believe it was like 18 days or
18 days.
yeah,
Wow.
of the principal photography, and we did the one full day of second unit shoot
Mhm.
in Tokyo. The Tokyo sequence. That
Okay.
was like that was crazy. exactly 24-hour shoot. My watch went twice
Oh my God.
without no break. I mean, that's the Japanese work ethic. It's like,
Yes.
I guess, they just work.
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. Until they drop.
right,
Or take some shots of like.
right. Yeah.
So I know, Kurando, you are an actor as well. Are you still acting, or what projects have you been in?
Right. Well, I had this kind of a accidental acting career. My good friend, who's very hardworking actor. He and I were we were having beer one night, long time ago. This is already like 10, 15 years ago, I guess. At the time, I think I just finished my first feature, or that I finished the first feature, and but my directing career wasn't really taking off, and I was doing translation work, and I was in between work, stuff like that, struggling.
Mhm.
And my friend and I were having beer, and he's like, look, my agent is looking for somebody like you, the Asian guy,
Mhm.
and I think my agent would want to meet you, and if he likes you, maybe he wants
Right.
to represent you, and
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not really trained actor. I went to film school to
Right.
study film,
Mhm.
directing, but never acting. So I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not sure, but it's Hollywood, right? So it's like
Sure.
anything goes. I mean, I mean, the worst case scenario, I'll learn something. This will be a good experience. So I went to see his agent, and he really liked me. So
Mhm.
he actually signed me on right there on the spot. And,
Wow.
yeah, and like in this town, you hear, struggling actors
Yes.
not getting the representation
Oh,
for forever.
yeah. All the time.
Yeah, so I know how lucky I was. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, cool, okay, I'll give this a shot.
Yeah.
And I think the first audition or second audition my agent sent me out was this a big commercial for Vodafone. It was a new Nokia cell phone
Yes.
for Europe or something,
Okay.
and it was like a Japanese businessman in a hot tub, uh, like looking at this guy with the cool phone walking by, and we'll just look at the guy or something, and they rented this Korean spa with the big hot tub, like a like a Asian style onsen hot spring, like a rocky hot tub,
Right.
and they rented this the whole spa, and basically the Japanese business person was the principal,
Mhm.
and I sat in the hot tub and I did the bit, and but this was like full on union shoot, and it was really the biggest shoot I've ever been on at that time.
Okay.
All the trailers on camera trucks and trailers, makeup trailer and catering truck, and I was like, wow, this is Hollywood commercial shoot,
Yeah. It's good.
and I was the principal, so.
Yes.
That was definitely beginner's luck, right? I mean, that was like my second audition or something.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got the part, and then right after that commercial, SAG sent me,
Yeah. You got an email. Yeah.
semi-threatening letter saying if you don't join, you don't work in this town, that
Yes.
type of thing. So I'm like, oh my God, I guess I have to join the union. So I charged over to SAG building on Wilshire here in LA,
Yeah.
and it's a line out the door with all the struggling actors lining up to sign on with SAG,
Okay.
and I guess those people are like background actors who's accumulating the time, and so they report their hours and name, and then they look it up on a computer, and they're like, oh, you're still shy of
Mhm.
100 hours or whatever, and people are kind of getting turned down in front of me, like
Mhm.
right to left, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, what am I, what am I getting into here?" Then it was my turn. I went up to the counter and showed them the letter, and they were like, "Okay, you're this way." And you know, everybody in front of me got denied, and I walked right in. And I'm not really an actor, so I was like, I was feeling guilty already. Then before you know it, I was a SAG actor.
That's amazing.
Yeah, then like a third audition or fourth audition I went was Ugly Betty,
Oh my God. Okay.
the first season of Ugly Betty, and I guess apparently Mr. George Takei was going to play this fashion designer character, guest star role on
Guess
episode
so.
4. Yeah,
Okay.
and I guess he had the schedule conflict and he
Mhm.
couldn't do it.
Mhm.
So they were, they were emergency replacement was,
Yes.
searched, and the first audition was already like producers were there,
Okay, right to
like
produce.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
15 chairs were there, and like all the producers are there. And then I came in. I guess I was the only Japanese who can speak Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did the bit, and I didn't think I got it. I just had fun with it, and
Mm-hmm.
I as I was leaving the studio, I got the call from the agent saying you got the part. So I was like, what?
Wonderful, fantastic.
Yeah.
Get starring role right off the bat. Nice.
Yeah, so then I got the guest star spot on Ugly Betty, and yeah, that was very surreal. I got to hug and kiss Vanessa Williams. I mean, that was
Oh,
like,
hey,
I was
great.
like, oh man, big time here, and yeah. Then actually, the funny thing was the one of the star on that show, Christopher Gorham, great actor. Actually, he and I went to same high school in Fresno, California,
Oh, okay.
and we didn't see each other for like 10 years, 20 years, and we saw each other for the first time in 20 years or something on the set of
Oh,
Ugly Betty. It was really amazing coincidence.
that's right.
And yeah, so I did that gig, and then I was actually on Heroes second season,
Okay.
when Hero time travels back in time to the feudal Japan.
Uh-huh.
um, he encounters this villain named Whitebeard, and I played a Whitebeard. At that time my beard was all black. I was younger,
So,
so
yeah,
now,
correct.
yeah, now I can play better Whitebeard, with no makeup. But so I played the Whitebeard on Heroes season 2 for 2 episodes. Um, Unfortunately, season 2 of Heroes had the writer's strike,
Yes,
and
I
in a
remember
big,
'cause I love
yeah,
that show. Yes.
right. So they couldn't shoot the whole 23 episodes of the season 2.
Right.
They had to cut it down to like, you know, 12 episode or something. So my character kind of fizzled out, like it didn't really have the conclusion, which
Mhm.
is unfortunate. But
Yes.
if that series continued, I might have had a different career. Maybe
Right. Right.
maybe my acting career took off before my directing career. I don't
Right.
know, but
Yes.
I had fun. Yeah.
Nice. So another one of my beloved movies that you did, that you made, was a movie called Gunwoman. That's right before Karate Kill,
Yeah.
and that movie is a revenge movie. It's crazy but brilliant. The protagonist has a weapon hidden in her body, and she has to cut it out and kill the main villain. The main villain is a horrendous person, and he deserves to die. So anybody listening, please watch Gunwoman. You won't be disappointed. But where did you get the idea for this? Because I was watching, it's like, this is such an insane idea for a movie.
Right. Well, Karate Kill has a special place in my heart because essentially that was the movie that put me on the map.
Mhm.
That's my third feature,
Mhm.
but it had a wonderful run in whole genre film festival around the
Um,
world,
okay.
and I got distribution like over 20 countries. And, Shout Factory, the big company here in the US, picked it up for American home video market. So it was really kind of, like a movie that really launched me onto, in the industry. But it was low budget, ultra low budget stuff. You will be. I don't think I can disclose the budget. But it's like it's like a used car. Price tag. Maybe some high end European car used.
Right.
But that was the
Right.
entire budget,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, and we only had like 14 days to shoot.
14 days to shoot it. Okay.
Yeah, and it was brutal, but uh, it was my passion project. That was like I really wanted to do that crazy movie. I
Yes.
had originally when I was I went to Cal Arts, California Institute of the Arts, for my film school, and I had the idea for my grad thesis film. It was a story about the diamond smugglers, and they would hide the diamond in dead person's body,
Ah.
and they'll ship it across the country, across the border, stuff like that. Of course, it was too ambitious for a film student to do
Right.
something like that. So, of course, that idea got nixed out. But that idea always stuck with me. Like some bad people hiding something bad inside the body.
Right.
And so that kind of transformed into idea for Gun Woman.
I see. I see. Now, the actress that you used, Asami,
Yeah.
she looks like she had a pretty big career before that movie, right? She was pretty popular in Japan.
Yeah.
Did you know her personally, or did you have her in mind for that role?
Right. Well, Asami is very popular. I should say was, because she just retired from entertainment business this year,
Okay.
which is a tremendous loss for the
Yes.
industry, I think.
Yes.
But she got tired of it. She got tired of how really small and challenging it is to survive in the Japanese film industry today. Because everything is shrinking down. Japanese young kids don't watch Japanese movies no more. All that stuff. So she retired this year, unfortunate. But Asami had the big career. She started off her career as a model. Then she became a very popular porn star in Japan,
Okay.
and then she became this kind of a genre actress, and she started to getting into action stuff.
Action.
She started to train herself, study the martial arts and stuff like that. So she kind of made her leap to martial art action movie star.
Mainstream, yeah.
Yeah, in Japan, and she worked with wonderful Japanese genre directors like Yoshihiro Nishimura, Noboru Iguchi, Machine Girl, put her on the map internationally.
That's right.
Then she did Robo Geisha, stuff like that. Tokyo Gore Police, she's in. So she gained international popularity with Japanese extreme Japanese cinema.
Yes.
In the early 2000s, and then I was actually at that time. Let's see, late 2009. I was actually living in Japan. I moved back to Japan with my family.
Okay.
And, so at the time I was living in Japan. Then my stunt coordinator friend introduced me to Asami. And we became friends. Like I admired her work, and she watched the Samurai Avenger, and she really liked it, and we became friends. And but what brought us really close was we were invited to German fan convention together, and so we were stuck in an airplane round trip, Tokyo to Düsseldorf, Germany, like a 16-hour flight,
Oh,
like
man.
round trip. We were
Exactly.
stuck together, so we just basically talked and talked and talked, and
Right.
we got to know each other very well.
Mhm.
And on the return flight, I was telling her, I have this idea called Gun Woman,
Uh-huh.
and this would be crazy project. The main lead actress has to be, naked
Yes, yes, yes.
throughout the movie,
Mhm.
bloody, and she has to fight naked. Last half hour of the movie, blah blah blah, and she's like, "I'm the one to play it. I can. I'm the only one on this planet. I can play that for you."
She did a
And
great job, that's for sure. Uh-huh.
yeah, she loved the idea. She's like, "I want to do it. Let's do it." Of course, we had to wait several years for to find the money and everything, but we were able to keep that promise, and we were able to do it together. So yeah, I mean, without Asami, I couldn't have done Gun Woman for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a brilliant movie. It's a great
Thank you.
revenge movie. It's definitely it's over the top. It's Tarantino-esque. It's amazing. There was a Korean revenge movie called Sympathy for Miss Lady Vengeance,
Yes.
but I actually think Gun Woman is better.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
But I know with the current situation as a filmmaker, um, how do you feel is the best way to tackle the coronavirus? For like scenes which require fighting or like hand to hand, even romantic or intimate scenes. Have you thought about how you would tackle that now? Because it's such a whole nother obstacle to deal with, right? So,
Yeah, I was actually that's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I've been talking to my director friends around the world about it too. Basically, I think right now
mhm,
there's just too much unknown for this situation. We really don't know what this is.
no.
At least I don't, and so I mean, if you think about it, right now is really the most difficult time to say write script, because we don't know if Corona is going to go away or Corona is going to stay, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm,
So if you're just writing, say, a romantic comedy right now, are you going to write the world with Corona or without Corona?
mhm.
Right now, right? Because it's like, okay, you're writing a dating sequence,
Yeah.
and would they go to a movie? Would they go out for a dinner? Like, are they wearing the face shield? That type of thing.
Right.
So the creators have to decide, like, okay, this is the world with Corona or without Corona. Like,
Right.
but if the Corona was here to stay,
Yes.
anything you're creating without Corona would be fake.
Right.
Like, it has to be like, okay, this movie takes place in 2010. Then of course
Right.
you can do that, but that already, like, you have to time travel back
Sure.
in time to
Mhm.
to for your narrative to really stand on the ground. So I mean,
Sure.
right now is a really difficult time, and to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. Right now, um, I'm writing a script. I'm
Mhm.
on a third draft, but new my latest movie, my new movie, which was slated to shoot in May, but
Uh-huh.
it got postponed to next year. Thankfully, my producer, my studio. Actually, this will be my first Japanese studio movie, so it's kind
Mhm.
of a. I was really anticipating it as
Sure.
my, kind of like this is going to launch me into the mainstream. Like,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
still a fringe director, with the fringe budget, but
Mhm.
hopefully this Japanese studio movie will launch me into the A list in Japan. But anyway, but thankfully this script is a kind of a far future sci-fi.
Okay.
So I'm assuming this is the people there already dealt with Corona and got
Got
away with it. So it's been like 100 years or something. So I can hint the presence of Corona or the lessons from Corona in that world, but I
Right.
don't have to deal with Corona issue directly,
Sure.
in this kind of a far future setup.
Right.
I'm able to write it, but right now I don't know. Writing a regular like a normal cop movie or the romantic comedy right now would be really challenging, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what would be your dream project, or like say a studio came to you and they said, Karando, we're going to give you, a $50 million budget. What could you do with that if you had free reign? You have the chance to make your vision, because you've done so much on such a small budget. You made I think two fantastic movies, best movies I've seen in the last, I don't know, 15 years or so.
Oh, thank you. Well, a couple of projects would come to my mind. One, I definitely want to do like super authentic, like almost Kurosawa-esque samurai movie.
Yes. Yes.
I mean that would be my dream.
Yes.
I mean, I guess Japanese countryside is now
Yes.
really screwed up. Because everywhere you look, it has the electric poles
Well,
everywhere.
yeah. Yeah.
The landscape is practically raped. So like unfortunately, all the Japanese landscapes are gone. That's
Yeah.
why like production of Last Samurai had to go to New Zealand. To find a feudal time Japan-esque look.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I think to pull off super authentic Japanese samurai movie today would
Mhm.
be really high budget. So I would love to do that.
I see.
Also, my father, my late father, actually went to World War II, and he was captured by Russians in Manchuria, and he became a prisoner of war in Siberia.
Oh wow.
So I would love to do some kind of a World War II epic
Hmm.
with that, Siberia, Russian,
Sure.
Japanese, Chinese, whole kind of epic drama in the Pacific War. And also, I would love to do another, World War II epic. Japanese American battalion. They fought in World War II. They were one of the most bravest
Yes.
American soldiers. Yet because they fought so bravely, because their families were put in the internment camp.
Hmm.
It's such a horrendous part of this country's history,
Yeah.
and I would definitely want to make a movie about that. Like how um, what kind of horrible politics was played,
Oh
racism.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
put the Japanese away in the camp. I mean,
Yes.
German Americans and Italian Americans weren't put away, and
Yeah.
but Japanese Americans are put away because we look different, we
Right.
were not white, and I
Right.
mean that's bad, that's
Yeah.
horseshit, so
That's terrible.
yeah, so
You know,
I want to make that. I want to make a epic World War II story. It would be my dream project.
I know if you are given that opportunity, and I think you will, you're going to make one of the best war movies of all time. I
Oh,
really
thank you.
hope so. It's funny you bring that up. I don't know if you know the silent era actor Sesui Hayakawa.
Oh yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I find him so amazing that he was at that time the leading man, a sex symbol, and shortly after, I guess the internment camps happened a little bit after his time. So, but he rose to that occasion, somehow. So there must have been at that time, early 1900s, a more of an acceptance for at least Japanese people, right? And then World War II happened, so that killed it. But I would love to see a biography or a movie about Sesuai's life. It's never been tackled before,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like old time, like how, what kind of Asian presence influenced Hollywood, or like I would love to know more about Asian presence in American movie industry.
Yes.
That would be a fascinating subject. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, any possibility of making Karate Kill 2 a sequel?
Well, producer Mr. Kubo always wanted to do a sequel, so we're still in talks. Hayate's game, he wants to do it. So if the opportunity and timing's right, we'll definitely try to do something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Hayate's character is such a great,
Just
I mean, it's the idea was when I got the Karate Kill assignment, I wanted to make Dirty Harry, and so basically Hayate's character Kenji is Harry Callahan esque man
yes,
with the few words
yes,
guy,
yeah.
action star.
One mission, and it's straight. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And instead of 44 Magnum, he has karate. You
yes,
know, that
yeah,
that was my idea. So definitely, just like Dirty Harry became a series
yeah,
franchise,
yeah.
we can make Karate Kill into franchise. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to see another one. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you. I mean, I really want to do Gun Woman too.
That would be
That's
great. Also,
that's been my dream project too.
right.
Kind of an immediate dream project. I entered a pitch project pitch competition
Mhm.
in Bucheon International Film Festival in Korea
Yeah.
back in 2015,
Okay.
and we were awarded the best pitch award there.
Okay.
So I already have the pitch, So if any movie producer listening to this program, I would love to talk to you and make Gun Woman Part Two possible. Like to me, best title for any movies is Aliens. You know, Alien Part Two is Aliens.
Yes.
Plural.
Right.
It's brilliant, right? So
Yes.
Gun Woman sequel will be Gun Women.
Ah.
we're gonna have many gun women.
Many going. Okay.
Yes.
I guess the only obstacle there, since Asami is retired, you're gonna have to find another Asami, which that would be
Yeah,
kind
well, I don't know. Maybe Hollywood Paycheck could bring her back.
of. You know what's yeah. So, Karando, lastly, do you have any advice for people who want to direct, write, produce their own movies? Younger people who want to get into directing, or just people who want to make a movie. Do you have any advice to give them?
Yeah, my advice to aspiring filmmakers, film student, or anybody: don't pursue it. Don't. There's no future in this. No, I don't want to be too much of a doomsayer, but
Right.
like I was the '80s. I'm a product of '80s geek culture,
Okay.
and I think '70s and '80s definitely was like a pinnacle of cinema culture. I mean, definitely the movies were the king of entertainment,
Yes.
and it had the cultural importance,
Yeah.
and I mean, as art and as pop culture, so that's why I got really inspired by it, influenced, and here I am struggling right now because cinema is not what cinema used to be in the '70s and '80s today. It's just it's quote unquote contents now, and it's streamed everywhere. You don't have to pay for it. If you have subscription, you can just watch whatever for free. You don't have to pay by movie or whatever. And if the first 3 minutes is not fun, people will just select something else. So
Yeah.
no respect for films, no importance really. And kids today don't have the attention span to sit through 2 hour movie.
No.
They every 30 seconds they have to look at the goddamn phone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if you're smart, you should look for something that would be thriving in 10 years, 20 years, And unfortunately for cinema, I don't know what's going to be happening to it in 10 years and 20 years. I really don't think it's going to go back to being the king of the entertainment. So I don't know. I really, on a serious note, I don't know if I'm in my 20s right now, would
Mhm.
I be would I be hoping to become a film director? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't, but if you're cursed by cinema, like me, you're one of those unfortunate people, unfortunate, I don't know, not so intelligent people who 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 have to pursue your career in cinema.
Yeah.
I think the best advice I can give you is um, watch a lot of movies. Especially watch a lot of movies before you were born. One of my best cinephile friend. Uh, he's almost like my movie mentor. He's an older gentleman, but great friend of mine. His best quote is the value of that person is determined by how many movies he or she's seen from before they were born.
Ah.
And I think that's some truth to it, um, so like nowadays kids today will say, "Oh, a black and white movie, I don't want to watch it." It's like,
Yeah.
screw that, watch
Right.
black and white movies,
Sure.
so I think if you are aspiring to become a filmmaker, watch a lot of movies, especially watch a lot of movies before you were born.
Okay. Well, Kurando, I want to thank you so much for your time. This was a very enjoyable interview. I'm a big fan of yours, and I got so much out of it. Hopefully, I get to meet you someday.
Yes, definitely. You are based in New York?
I am based in New York, so anytime you're in New York, give me a holler. I have a big place. You
Definitely.
can stay with me, and
Sounds good. If you don't mind working in LA,
I
when
don't.
I start casting for my next one, I would love to have you come in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. Cool.
yeah. Finally, great to meet you. This
Yeah,
is
great
this
to
is
meet you.
fantastic.
Great.
I knew we'll hit it off right away when I saw your first show with the Street Fighter poster in the background. I was like, hey, I think this guy and I will get along fine. So.
Yeah, it's my dream that they would remake this movie and I get a shot to play Teddy Surugi, but
Yes.
I don't know,
No, no, no. We should. I'm a little bit against remakes. I think you and I should make a movie that would be remade in 20 years. You know what I mean? Like we should be the pioneers.
I,
We'll make a legendary movie that
yes,
people want to do the remake when we're old people.
yes, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Karanda. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
it.
so much. Great to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Have a
Take
nice
care.
night. Thank you.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye.